Yo guys, so it looks like we are live. So now what we are going to do today. Oh, first I also want to say welcome. This is TalkFlow if you don't already know. Now in this episode, what we're gonna do is we're going to be doing a redesign of a dental clinic website that I found. Um, and we're gonna be doing it in Figma. Now, I just want to move on quickly to the disclaimer. So as you can see, Vimalan is not here today. He couldn't make it today, so I'm just here doing this on my own. And we're gonna be going through, what we think is wrong with the old website, what we think is good about the website, and we're just gonna be talking a little bit about, the target audience, the common problems of the website, and then we're gonna finally redesign it all in Figma, and I'm going to do everything step by step for you guys. So I'm just going to share my screen with you just to show you the old website. Let me just see if I can pull it out. Oh, should have done this before, but okay, here it is. Cool. Let's see if this works. Awesome. Okay, so here is the old website that we're going to be redesigning. So as you can see, is a dental clinic. It's just a local one that I found. Now, we're just gonna let me just move on to what is wrong with this site. So what is wrong with this site? Perhaps you guys can comment and let me know. But what I think, firstly, straight off the bat, is it just looks a bit old. You can tell that this website hasn't been, redesigned or redone in quite a long time. Just by looking at the design. But I do like this little animation here. And also another thing that I don't like about this site is the copywriting. It just has a header. There's no call to action, although there is one here. There should be one on the hero. Um, so yeah, the copywriting on the hero is not the best. There also should be some subtext as well that kind of explains what the main heading says. But apart from that, I think everything else looks fine. Again, the general kind of theme or thing that is wrong with this website is that it is a bit old. Um, but apart from that, let me see if anyone has commented. Um, if you guys can just let me know in the comments what you guys think is wrong with this website, that would be great. But that's what I think is wrong with this website. I do really like the color scheme. And we're going to be using this color scheme in order to redesign the website because we don't want to, go away from the branding of this clinic. Um, so now let's move on to what is good about this site. So what is good about this site? So right now I can see that there is some kind of social proof over here, 8-year anniversary perhaps. You can see they listed out their services, they have their team there. There was also some testimonials here as well, which is good again. And the one thing that really stood out to me is financial treatment, right? Benefit from our 0% finance, 0% interest finance plans. And I think that needs to be more prominent on the hero section because that is kind of a big thing, right? 0% interest 0% interest. I think that if is not really shouting to me if that makes sense. I think we have to place it in a place on the hero section that kind of makes it stand out. Um, so that's what we're gonna do. And another thing that I do like is I have multiple locations. But in order for me to go to the location, I have to click over here. It's not listing out already where it is. I rather just click on the first location and the second location. Right now it just says click on our two locations, which I don't think is the best thing for user experience and user interface. Um, but yeah, I think that is it for what is good about this site. Now we're going to talk about the target audience. Now I know I'm moving a bit quickly because the redesign is going to take quite a while. So the target audience of this website. So the target audience is obviously it's a dental clinic. So the target audience is going to be patients, dental patients, people that need some kind of treatment for their teeth. It's quite a boring kind of demographic. It's not really, something interesting like a tech company, but that's what that is. And we have to focus on that target audience and kind of enter the minds, you can say, of that audience in order to see what in order to see what exactly they are looking for in this website. And just as a general thing, right? Everyone is looking for trust. And if they like the website, that's what it is, right? They're looking for trust. How do I trust this company, right? And the website's job is to do that, is to instill trust in the user. And there's different ways you can do that for this. For example, for this dental clinic, it won't make sense to, have a product hunt, review or something like that, because it's not a product, right? It has to be more specific towards this website and the company. So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on building trust and just making this entire hero section a lot better. Um, so that's what I would say for that. Now we're just going to move on to the most common problem. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Now, the most common problem I find in these websites is that there's always, actually, not always, but the most common problem is that they have all of the right things. For example, you can see on the website there is some testimonials, there is a call to action, but it's not leveraged in the correct way. That's the only problem, or the most common problem. All of these old websites, they have, testimonials, reviews, call to actions, but they're not being used in the right way to meet the modern standards. You can compare this website to every other website. They still have the same bones in a way. So they both have a call to action, they both have testimonials, but they're not being leveraged in the right way in, the old kind of websites and in this website. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna, kind of grab everything they have already and mix it up and leverage it in a way that makes it better. So now we're just gonna move on to the redesign. That's just a quick overview. If anyone has any questions, just comment and then I can get back to you guys. But yeah, now we're gonna move on to the redesign. Um, so let me just share my screen for the Figma file. Here it is. So I just created some assets before this stream, just so things can be a lot quicker. I had to find some images, a color palette as well, and I had to import the logo and just get a bit of icons as well. And this you're gonna know what this is about in a second, but these are the assets we are going to use to design the website now. It is not that much, but this is a good foundation in order to start building out the rest of the website. Now, I kind of have an idea of what the website is going to look like. And the things that we're going to keep in this website is we're going to keep the copywriting, because I kind of do like this. Your smile is our passion, our mission, and I like how it changes. Um, Perhaps this, falls in line to the brand, and I don't really want to change up their brand. I just want to kind of give it a enhancement, if that makes sense. And we're also gonna I was thinking of adding a subheading as well as some call to actions, not just one, but quite, maybe two or three call to actions instead of just having one big one that says book an appointment. And we're also going to be redesigning the nav section just to make it a lot cleaner. Um, and yeah, sorry, the other thing I wanted to say about this is the background image doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, it doesn't tell me anything about dentistry or dentist or a clinic. It just has two ladies smiling, looking at something that I can't really see. Maybe that's because of the length of my screen is quite wide. But we have to change that up. We have to change the images so it kind of matches what this company is about, which is a dental clinic. So we have to use some images related to that. Um, and these are the images that I found. So these images are a lot better than the one they have. There's a person over here, a patient smiling. It kind of tells the user, subconsciously that this is going to be you. You're going to be smiling. You're going to have a nice smile and all of that stuff. Here is looks like a nurse smiling, perhaps talking to a patient over here, and here is the actual dentist working on a patient. So all of these three images kind of already show the user what this company is about, and it kind of does that quite instantly because that's the first thing that you see on the website, and that's what we've got to do. We got to very quickly instill in the user's mind what this company is about and why they should trust them. And that's what we're going to do here. So let's just jump into the redesign. So what I like to do first is obviously create a new file in Figma. Just create a design file. And then what I like to do is just name this. I'm just going to call this dental clinic redesign. And the next thing is to add a frame. So just click this icon, add a frame here, line it up in the center. So make sure the X and Y is all both to 0. And then the width, I like to do 1920 and the height is 1080. And then obviously just rename this frame. We're just going to call this hero. Now we got our frame ready. Now we're going to start designing. So I like to start from the top to the bottom. So you can see on this old website, um, the phone number is not quite clear. It's not, I don't think it's clickable as well, so you can't really phone a person. And the book an appointment, it just looks quite off being in the top corner. Mostly when people come on a website, the eyes normally go for the middle left or the bottom left. So we want to make sure that the call to action is directly at the first thing the user sees. So this being on the top right, it won't really make sense. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move that, and let's just start designing this nav bar right here. So let's see this. So I'm just going to make a top bar over here. Let's just make it, I think that looks good. Perhaps around 35. And then I'm gonna use the color palette that I use over here. So I'm just gonna copy this dark color in, and this top part is going to be where we list out our phone number, our email, um, the clinic location, perhaps on the top right, and also a phone number and I already said that, a phone number and an email, and perhaps some timings. Because in these service designers website, let me tell you guys something, right? In these service websites, you need to have people want to have these basic kind of information on the website straight away. So your phone number, email, your timings, and your locations. For these service businesses, every single service business website that I create, I always make sure that's right at the front, because those are the 3 or 4 things that people are looking for straight away. Um, and again, that instills transparency and trust in the users as well. So let's just start by, okay, the next thing I like to do is I like to add a grid layout. So columns. So what you do is go on your layout grid over here, select columns, and then I like to have a 12 columns over here like this. After we do that, the boundaries of this is going to be the first column over here, and it's just going to be from one column away from either side. That's going to be the boundaries. So now what I'm going to do is just add the phone number. So I'm just going to add a random phone number. Let's just copy it from the website. Their phone number. That looks good. And I'm going to make this font, let's just make it I don't know how you say this one. Sorry, guys. Calibre. And let's make it semi-bold or medium. That looks better. I'm just going to align it right here. And let me just switch off or hide the layout grid. Now, this font is a little bit weird. It doesn't really align in the center. So you can see that it's aligned in the center over here, but it doesn't show up. So I just like to align it to the top, and then just, not the top, the middle over here, and then just decrease this. So that looks like it's in the center. There we go. Now it's gonna, you see that, guys, is not aligning in the center properly. So let me see. There we go. Okay, now it's in the center. So I'm just going to put the phone number there, and I'm going to add an icon next to his phone number just to make it stand out a little bit more. So I'm just going to grab this icon, copy it, Control C, Control V, paste it in. And you can see that the colors of this is a bit different to what we have on the website. So if you go on the website, you can see that it's not the same color. But that's a problem, I believe. That's another problem with this website. The color palette, it's just 2 colors. It's just the same green and the same black everywhere. There is some gradients, but overall it's the same. I'm trying to add one more color, which is a more brighter green, that kind of, just for icons and a bit of accents to the website, just to make it stand out a bit more. So I'm just going to align this next to the phone number, and I'm just going to align this as well on this column, just so it's all centered, and that looks good. Now next to this, I'm going to add a phone number. So sorry, I'm going to add the timings. So I just added a phone number. So let me just add the timings right here. Copy and paste this, and let's call this Monday, Friday, 8 a.m. Oh, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So it's done. Now look, the timing is right here. So it's a lot easier for the user to know because it's directly at the top. And a lot of modern websites have this right now because um, it's just a lot easier for the user to see, and this website doesn't. So that just shows that it's a bit old, it's a bit outdated. So I think that's all for this top left. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some of the clinic locations on the top right over here. So let me just add back in the column so we know where to align this, and put this right here, and I'm going to align it to the right because it's on the right side. So now the first clinic location, let's just say South London, and the other one, let's just say North London, just so it's a little quicker for us. So North London, South London, and then right next to this, make sure that it's all the same. Space in between, I'm just going to call this clinics. And let's just make this green as well, just to match the theme. There we go. That looks good. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, right? How do you come up with this kind of design? I mean, it does take a bit of practice, but it's more about, you know, once you've had a good understanding. Let me just stop sharing my screen real quick. Once you guys have a good understanding of, what website looks good and what website doesn't, that's when you'll, start being creative and start redesigning quite quickly, like how I'm doing. But for the most part, when you're first starting out, you're not going to have, all of these ideas and, okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this for the hero section. I'm going to make the copywriting this. It's not going to come straight away. It takes a lot of practice. And whoever's feeling like that, if you're a beginner and you're kind of stuck on redesigning a website, just it's fine. It's completely normal. You just have to practice, look at, other websites, look at inspiration websites on Dribble, Behance. There's a lot of websites. I don't really need to, list them out, but just look at what kind of websites are doing well, what websites are getting the most traction, what are the best designed websites in your opinion, and then you use those elements that you see over there and then start designing with your own style, and using whatever you saw and whatever you learned and start practicing it. That's the only way you're going to get better at design, just by practicing. um so hello, Omkar, it's good to have you here. Discovered this TalkFlow today, and the value you guys provide is unbelievable. Thank you very much. I don't want to say your name because I know I'm gonna butcher it, but I really appreciate that. The CSS page, hello. Yeah, hello back. It's good to see you guys. If you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I can, make sure that I answer them. So yeah, let us get back into designing. Exactly. Okay, let me just bring out this comment. Hi Dev, it's good to see you again. Dev is a regular for TalkFlow, so it's good to see you. Exactly, it does take a lot of practice, and it's a creative process. It does drain a lot of energy. Exactly. Once you're first starting out, you're gonna use a lot of energy, like Dev said too. You're gonna be stuck. You're gonna be, your brain's gonna fry. You're gonna be thinking, oh, I'm stuck on this, hero section. How do I make this image look nice? How do I make this look nice? And again, it's just going to take a lot of practice. So step one, look at inspirational websites on Dribble, whatever. Look at them, see what makes them good, start design, and then put that into practice. And then your brain is just going to change in a way. It's going to wire it differently. Um, is going to wire differently to make your to is kind of going to train your eyes to see what makes a good website and what makes a bad website. And that mindset alone is going to make you so much better at design. For example, a non-designer, a person that's not a designer, a person that is a designer, the designer will see the pixels and all of the small details that are wrong. And that just comes from, and you're going to pick up these details just by practicing. So again, it's all about practicing. How to pitch someone a redesigned website. Well, this again comes down to getting clients. And, we have several shows about this in the past. We got like 3 or 4 episodes that walk you through step by step how to get more clients. So our first episode talks, me and Vimalan talk to you guys about how we started, how we got our first clients, everything that our stories basically and our journeys. And then I believe the second episode talks about how to make money or something like that. And then the third one is how to market yourself. and I believe the fourth one is I don't really remember, guys. I know this is bad, but just watch all of those episodes of TalkFlow, and yeah, you'll get. I think that will prime you definitely, and it will kind of make you understand how to get clients, and I think that should answer your question. But again, it just comes down to getting clients, and yeah, watch our previous TalkFlow episodes. It is a long thing, right? I can talk about getting clients for days, but that's what I'm suggesting to just go and watch those episodes. I think that will, give you all your answers. But yeah, let me just get back to designing this website. Let's go. So now I'm going to move on to the nav bar. So I'm thinking because I'm not going to have a wide image in the back, I'm going to kind of make the images on the right side. We're going to have to have either a different color nav or a different color background. So I think I'm going to choose a different color background. So this height looks good. So I'm just going to make this white, and in the hero section, I'm just going to make it a little bit gray, just a slightly gray like that, just so you can slightly distinguish between the nav bar and the hero and the hero background. So now it would make sense for us to have our logo on the left and the rest of the stuff on the right. But some people might just put the logo slap bang in the middle and put the other stuff there, but it won't make sense to do that. Why? Because we already aligned our top nav bar on the left side and this on the right side. So it will only make sense to have our nav bar elements to be aligned the exact same way. So that's what we're going to do. So let's just go back to our assets, grab the logo, copy and paste it here, just align it right here, and it looks a bit too short, so let's just make it taller. There we go, that looks good. And now we're just going to add our nav links, but before I do that, I want to style the button. So the button, I want to keep it quite simple. I don't want to make it too fancy. Now the button currently on this website, on the old website, is very square. Now for me personally, and what I found, square kind of buttons and squarish designs kind of make the website, it seems too professional, like more corporate. So because this is a dental clinic, we want to make it kind of professional and casual, but also friendly at the same time, because we don't want to scare off our patients or users. I know this is a tiny detail, and I may be overdoing it, but these are the details that you need to look out for in order to make effective websites. So I'm just gonna make the button, just gonna make it here. So this looks good. Just gonna grab this, put it here in the center of this button, bring it to the front, and the button is going to be the main green, which is the same color as the old website. So let's just do that, and let's just call this book appointment. And you know what? Let's just add something like it's free, something like that. I think Webflow has this same kind of copywriting on their buttons, and it really, really does make it, a lot better. So let's just increase this to around 16 pixels, perhaps. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's put it in the middle. There we go. And let's just soften up the edges. So let's make it perhaps 5. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this button looks good right here. So I'm just gonna grab this button. Actually, before I do that, just to add a bit more detail, let's just make this text a bit, just decrease opacity to around 60%, just to make it pop a little bit, just to add some depth to the button. So now let's just align this right here. Now that button is, again, just by looking at this already looks a lot better than our old website. So if you go on the old website, you can see that it's just slap bang in the top, the margins, sorry, the padding is not the best. It just looks a bit off. Now this, you can see that already it just looks a lot better. So yeah, now I'm gonna add the nav links on the nav bar. So I'm just gonna grab this text. Let's just make it black. And another design tip, guys, never ever make your text completely black, 000. Make sure that it's just slightly above black. Um, that's just a quick design tip for you guys. Now, instead of 14, instead of 12, let's have 14. Looks good. Now, let's just make this home. Um, that looks good. Now, let's just make another one called about. Oh, sorry, guys. About. And another one, let's just call it blog. And we have to make sure that we align all of these into the center. And let's just call this other one treatments, because I believe that website did have a treatments page. Let's call it treatments. Okay, that looks good. And I believe that they do have a team page. So let's just make a team page. Team. Use the width of that. And lastly, let's just make a contact page or contact link. Okay, so that looks good. So these are going to be our nav links. Now we're just going to align them to what makes the most sense. So firstly, let us space them all up equally. So I reckon maybe 30 pixels in between looks good. So so that looks good right here. And we can always, in Figma, you can always, increase the size in between these items. So let's just increase a little bit more. Instead of 30, let's make it maybe 45. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Maybe have it 60, I would say 60. There we go. That looks good. Now we're just going to group these together. Command G, and we're just going to slap it bang in the middle right here. And let's just align it right here. Let me just check if you guys have any comments. Let me see this question. How do we make gradient button? I mean, moving gradient on hover. So I mean, if you're talking about on Webflow, what we can do perhaps is, I can't really think on the top of my head. I will have to, have a minute to think, but I'm pretty sure that it can be done on Webflow. You can perhaps have another div in the background that is set to overflow hidden and just move that div in when you hover over it. So yeah, that's that. Hi Shais, where do you mostly get your inspiration in designing a website? So mostly I get my inspiration from Dribble and also my own kind of websites, So I look on Dribble quite a lot. I see what is, the trending landing pages and all of this stuff. And then I see, and then I use some of the elements I found on there. I think I explained this before, but I use some of the elements that I found on those websites and I'm using it in my own designs and I practice and then I improve it. And that's basically how I get my inspiration. But most of the time it is from Dribble. So yeah, I would say Dribble definitely. So let's just move on to the website again. So now that we got this, I was thinking perhaps we can also, you know what? I think this looks a bit too small. So let's just make it 16 and then just spread these. That looks good. That's in the middle. Now I was thinking to have some kind of current page animation. I don't know how you call it. But let me just show you guys this a lot better. So I normally I believe I made this animation as a clonable. If you guys have seen my clonable, check it out. Where you can see that when a person's on home, this is over here. If they go on the about page, this will move and go here. So this is kind of a cool, you know, just a really subtle thing that we can add to the website just to make it pop that bit more. And perhaps we can also make this green as well, just so that the user knows that they're on this page. So that looks good. So far so good. Now we've got the nav bar out the way, we've got the top bar out the way. Now we're going to start doing the hero section. We're going to be doing the text first. So let's just see what text they have on the old website. So you can see your smile is our passion. So let me just copy that and paste that in here. Okay, didn't say it, but let's just say mission and put full stop. Now the text, the font I'm going to use for this is going to be different to our normal fonts. So this is probably one of my favorite fonts. It's called Gilroy, and it's an amazing font. So let's just make this 75, maybe. That looks good. And I'm just going to align it to the left over here. Make it 2 lines. Align it right here. That looks good. Okay, that looks good so far. Okay, cool. Now just gonna add some subtext to the bottom. So I got this plugin from I got this Figma plugin. I'm not sure what it's called. Do not quote me on this, guys, but it's an awesome plugin that I use for creating dummy text, so lorem ipsum text. So I'm just gonna go here, plugins, lorem ipsum, and let's just add 5 sentences. So that looks good. Okay, it's a bit too long. Shorten it. That looks okay. And let's just increase the line height of this because it looks a bit crowded. That looks good. Oh, okay. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm just gonna add some opacity to this just to make the heading stand out a bit more. Let's make sure that it's aligned to everything. There we go. Okay, this looks aligned as well. I was thinking maybe this is a bit too long. Maybe 3 lines is enough. So let's just leave it like this. That looks good. Okay, cool. Now, what we're gonna do is at the bottom here, we can just copy this button in. So let's just group these two together. Copy this button in over here, and we can just add this same button here. And I was thinking we can also add a sub or a secondary button. Let's just leave it here, and perhaps we can have. What do you guys think we should have over here? What color? I'm just thinking white. So let's just keep it white. And the text, we can just make it green. So the text, let's make it green. And instead of book an appointment, perhaps let's have view treatments. So a secondary button is an amazing way to give just the right amount of options to the user. Because you want to make sure that you don't give too many options to the user, because that way they won't know where to go. And you don't want to give too little options to the user to the point where they feel like, they feel restricted. So you want to have the right balance of, not giving too many options, but just giving enough options to the user so that they feel like, I can do what I want. So they have that freedom in a way. But you don't want to give them too much freedom, and because that makes you lose control over where the user is going to go. If you have a fewer options, that kind of controls, it gives you control over where the user can go. That's very powerful in a website. So yeah, these buttons look good. Let me just make this a group, lower the height. That looks good. And now let's add, I was thinking perhaps, remember how I told you guys that I really liked this part over here. So financial treatment. And again, this goes back to what I said. This website, they have all of the right foundations, but they're not leveraging it properly. Now, and this is a perfect example. Financial treatment, 0% interest finance. That is a huge benefit for the user, but it's not being leveraged properly in a way that it's not shouting out to the user this. It kind of looks like just another text, So we want to make sure that this stands out on the website, and that's what I'm going to do here. So let's just figure out a way we can do this. One thing that I do like to do is, let's just try this out, guys. So we're just going to have a little rectangle here, perhaps decrease the size. Let's just make it Let's just have it full radius so that it's kind of a stretched circle. And let's just make this green. And inside of this, let's add some text. Let's just copy and paste this text. Bring this to the front. And let's just decrease this to around 10. And let's just add 0% finance. Let's make it all caps as well. So 0% finance, make it in the center. Oh, 0% finance. Now it's not right in the center, so we're just going to align it. That looks good. Stretch this out. So that looks good right here. So you can see right over here it says 0% finance. And yeah, that's looking very, very nice there. Let's just decrease this just to make it like that. There we go. Okay, now the user knows, okay, there's 0% finance. You know, this kind of looks like an offer, and this is way better than what we have on the old website, where it just, it just puts this right next to, two different text blocks that have nothing to do with each other right over here. So this is a lot better than having, just text like that. So now we're going to add a call to action next to this. So let's just put it here. Let's make this the same black. And again, we do not want to have a full black. We want to make sure that it's slightly below. There we go. And let's just say finance your treatment. Finance your treatment today. There we go. Cool. That looks good. And now finance your treatment. Finance your treatment today with 0% interest. Now I know it's a little long, but it will work. There we go. That looks good. And let's just add a arrow, or let's just make this a bit thinner. So right there. And then let's add a arrow on the right side, so it's actually a button. Right here. So let's just make it 1 pixel. And that looks maybe is a bit too long. Okay, that looks good right there. Let's make it like 0.75. Okay, that looks sweet. Okay, awesome. That looks. Let's perhaps increase this text size because it looks a bit smaller compared to the text on the left. Okay, that looks good. Okay, that looks good right here. Okay, that looks sweet. Now, let's just make this a little bit shorter right there. So there we go. Now, again, guys, you can see that now this kind of offer is properly leveraged. Before it was not at all. Now you can see that this offer is correctly leveraged in the proper way. Now a user can directly see, okay, this company has 0% finance. You can just click over here and find out more information about it. And then if you're already convinced that they do 0% finance, you can just book a treatment. And when they call you or when you go on the treatment, you already know that these people have 0% finance or 0% interest with their treatment plans. Rather than this being over here, this can get dismissed by a user very easily. Whereas this, it's quite hard to dismiss. The user would definitely look at this because it just stands out that bit more. So yeah, I think that is good right there. Let's just move this a bit closer there. And now I think we are good for this left side. So now the text looks excellent. Now what we're going to do is perhaps now we're going to add some images. So right now, the only thing that's lacking in this website, I believe, is the images. So before we do that, let me just actually increase the size of this. Let's make it 95 because right now it looks a bit too small. So let's move this part down. Let's move this here. Let's make it 92. There we go. Now, again, guys, I know that, 92 will look better because I've had a bit of practice design websites. So again, all of this just comes down to practice. And I'm going to talk about everything right at the end, but let's just finish designing this website first. Um, so, okay, another thing that is missing over here, you can see that the padding between the text over here is a lot smaller than this. So let's just make this thinner, perhaps like this. Instead of doing that, let's just grab both of them, and that looks good. So there we go. Now everything is symmetrical, and symmetry is essential in design. You don't want things looking unsymmetrical. You want to make sure that everything is symmetrical and everything looks like they're in the right place. So there we go. Now let's just look at the old website and see what we can do with the images. Um, we got a few questions. The secondary button tip was nice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, secondary buttons, they can literally transform a website. Not very dramatically, but they do make a big difference. I'm watching and designing my own as well. It's great to listen and design with someone. Awesome. If you want this to be a regular series, then let us know, and then we can do this every week, every other week, every month, whatever you guys want. So yeah, glad you guys are enjoying the show. So now we're gonna move on to adding the images. Now, I do not want a background image like this. I don't think that is right for this kind of website. What I want is let me just okay, I'm not sharing my screen, my bad, guys. Let me just share my screen. There we go. Okay, let me just add my face. Okay. Okay, guys, I don't think my face was there before it is. So we're gonna add the images again, as I said, and I do not want the background image to be like this. I think a better way of doing this is I kind of already had this planned out. So I want these three images on the right side. So let's just copy this and paste this. How long are we into this live stream? I do not want to be pushing an hour. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I've got these images here. Right now over here, it looks kind of boring sitting right there. I kind of want to make it a bit better, perhaps spice it up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, let's just increase the size of these. Let's just make it like this. That looks good. Now let's, make it a bit bumpy. That looks good, I'm kind of liking the look of this. Yeah, that looks good. Now I want to match the entire website. Again, symmetry is important. So I'm just going to add a bit of radius around these images just to make them rounded. And right now, because the background of these images are white and the background is a little bit white as well, it kind of makes it blend in, which we do not want to do. I'm just going to add a bit of drop shadow to this. And let's just make the blur, let's just say 50. And this, let's just say 10%. Yeah, that looks good. Now you can see that it just stands out a little bit more. Perhaps the blur is a bit too much. So, sorry, let's make it 7% or 5%. Good. You can see the difference, with this, and you can see I'm not sure if you guys can pick this up on the screen, sorry, on the stream, but it does make a big difference adding the drop shadow. So now let's just, we can just leave this over here, but I feel like there's something missing, I feel like something can be added on. I think that this text is a bit too small compared to this. I'm just going to increase the size of this. Let's just make this 20. Stretch this out a little bit. Move down. Perhaps increase the button sizes just slightly. That looks good. Perhaps also increase this a little bit. Oh. Do not want to make this too big. That looks good. Move this slightly down. Move this a bit down. Just a bit there. No, okay, that looks a lot better because it doesn't look too small. It looks quite good. So another thing is the line height of this looks a bit too large. So I'm just going to decrease that, line that up a little bit there, push this text up, and push this button up a little bit. There we go. And now again, there is something a bit missing over here. So perhaps we can add some illustration in the background or just a bit of just some kind of graphic. So let me just see what I can come up with. Let's just put a square over here and see how it looks. Something like this, perhaps. Just make it black and then, okay, that looks a bit better. Perhaps you can add some radius with this. Let's make it 200. Oh, 200 is a bit much. 150. Stretch this out to the top. Yeah, that looks okay. Perhaps we can do this. Okay, now I believe that the okay, that looks good, you know. What do you think about this design? I think it looks, I think that color was a bit dark, so I just made it a bit lighter. I think we can just leave it at this. Perhaps we can let's just leave it at this, and we can perhaps get back to it later. Let's just try and make it green and see if it makes a difference. No. Okay, we do not want too much green, so let's just leave it like this, and we can perhaps come back to it. But again, I think that there's something missing with this, and what I said at the beginning is trust. So these images already have built a lot of trust. This 0% finance has built a lot of trust, and just by this being a modern website already, just because it's designed well, that automatically brings up the trust of this company. But we also want some, tangible trust, which always comes in the form of testimonials and reviews. So we're just going to add some testimonial, perhaps like a Google testimonial pop-up over here. I was thinking we can just copy this square. We can perhaps copy this square. Let's make it white, perhaps, and add some stroke, maybe. And let's just make it a bit bigger. I kind of used this kind of design before on one of my old websites, but you know what? There's no harm in using it again. So let's do this. And I'm not sure how many reviews this company has, but it doesn't matter. Even if you say, let's just say 35 reviews. They should have 35 reviews, right? So let's just change the font to Gilroy and make it bold. Let's just say 35 plus reviews. That plus just adds a bit more trust to the website, which is what we want. So let's just increase it, put it like here, and then let's just add some stars. Just gonna add some stars here. Can add 5 stars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's make this yellow to kind of have that familiar feeling of stars, because normally these review stars are yellow color anyway. So make it a bit more orangey. I think that should do the trick. I think something like this color should do the trick. Okay, cool. And now again, let's just add some stroke to this. 1 pixel. Okay, no, not 1 pixel, perhaps 0.2 pixels. And now let's just move this to the bottom of this. Just decrease the size of this just so it's in line with that. Put this in the center. Let's group this and then put it in the center of this div. There we go. And now let's just increase the size. That looks good. Move it a little bit up because it doesn't look in line. And now we can add a line and then add some text next to it, and then we should be done. So again, make sure that this is in the center. Okay, cool. Just do that slightly. And let's just add some text. We can just say something like Google verified reviews, or view all of our verified reviews. Let's just see what we can do. So let's grab this here. Let me just see if there's any comments on the stream. Thank you. The designs are great to the point and clean. Appreciate that. Um, okay. Let me just go back to the design. Sorry, guys. Cool. Let's just say Google verified reviews from our happy patients. From our happy patients. And let's just increase this to 12 pixels. Align this right here. That looks good. And let's add a call to action, perhaps. Perhaps you can have something like view all reviews. View all reviews. There we go. And let's just make this green. And it looks way too big, so let's just reduce this and make it semi-bold, or let's make it medium. There we go. That looks good. We can add an arrow, so let's just grab this arrow again. Put this here. And let's make it green, as usual. So that looks good, I think that looks... Let's just see how that looks compared to the website. That looks good. I think this text is a little bit big. So let's just add another number, like 350. And then we can just reduce the size of this. So there we go. Okay, that looks good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That looks good. There we go. Okay, now we can just leave this over here. We can have it floating, or we can just leave this over here. But overall, I think, okay, I said we're going to come back to this. So perhaps we're going to add like a stroke for this. So we can add, oh, okay, this looks nice. We can just add a stroke. There we go. See, this is something that was missing. So that looks nice. We can just add a little bit of a stroke that's kind of poking out, it's a bit offlined or off balance from this, and it just looks a bit better. So I think this is it. I think we have done everything. This looks good. So just to walk you guys through what we've done, actually this stroke just looks a bit... Let's just decrease this to around there. Okay, that looks good. Now this can be floating, this can just be fixed just below this. It kind of really depends on how we develop it. Normally I'll just look, or normally what I'll do is I'll just develop this website and then see if we're gonna have this floating or just fixed. But yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Now, okay, guys, we've done with the website. We've done redesigning. Now I'm just gonna walk you guys through what we have done. All right. So now let's just go back to the old website and just review that real quick. So we can see on the old website again, the call to action wasn't the best, and we have updated that. We made it a lot better. The phone number is right here, and obviously when we develop it, it's going to be clickable as well. The timings of the clinic is over here as well, so we have to have that for service businesses. And obviously we have the clinic locations on the top right. We don't, and on the old website you can see that the button wasn't clickable. There was no timings, and the locations you had to click separately on this section, which was a bit weird. So we want to make all of this basic information, we want to make it fixed, and we want to have it all in one place for the user to quickly scan and know the basic information about the clinic straight away. So that's what we have done. Now, swiftly moving on, we just added this cool kind of nav bar. I think that brings out the website a lot, and brings out the nav bar a lot, makes it a bit more modern. And again, the button looks good. We added this, little bit of, we made this text a little bit faded, a little bit muted. That makes it pop a little bit more. The copywriting we didn't change because I felt like that kind of stuck with the brand. I don't really want to change up the brand too much, so I kept the copywriting at least. We added a subheading. Right now it's obviously dummy text, but I think a subheading is necessary in order to it kind of gives you a chance to show and tell the users what your company is all about. If the user just sees, okay, your smile is our mission, okay, they know that you guys are a dentist, but they don't know what your values are. They don't know what kind of specific patients you serve. So just having this kind of gives you the chance to talk about that. And my favorite part is this, where instead of the finance part being over here, where no one's really going to read that, and doesn't really stand out to me, although it's a very, very good offer. Instead, I just made it over here. It just makes that pop out a little bit more, and the user is more likely to see that, and therefore they're more likely to convert into an actual patient or an actual converting customer, right? So I think that's about it. Obviously, I just made the images a little bit different. I kind of made it a bit quirky and fun, but also professional at the same time. I added this background. I also added some reviews just to have that social proof, and all of this is all on one page. Oh, sorry, all in one section. And now obviously we can design other sections and other sections as well to, further have more social proof and more testimonials and more offers and all of that stuff. But just by looking at the hero section, personally, I will go to the dental clinic. So I think we've done a good job here. If there are any questions, please do let me know, guys, and I can answer them. But apart from that, I think we are good. And I was going to move on to final thoughts. Now, again, I just want to repeat, guys, redesigning a website doesn't come straight away. It takes a lot of practice. And I just walked you guys through, I know I talked a lot, but I feel like that is important in order to get the point across. In order for you guys to know what's going on inside my mind, because that's one thing that I always wondered with these world class designers. I always want to know how are they thinking. It's good to show the before and after of a website, that's good, but what were you thinking during that phase? And I feel like that's why I talked a lot. I wanted to show you guys or tell you guys what I'm thinking and why I would do this and not this. So yeah, guys, I hope you found that useful. The design is more living and have proper breathing room. Just loved it. Thank you very much, Dev. Really appreciate that. So I'm just going to link the old website that I redesigned in the description. You should see that soon. But apart from that, guys, it was good being here. I really enjoyed this episode. Again, if you guys have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. All of me and Vimalan's details are going to be in the description. So make sure that you reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. But apart from that, we're going to see you guys next week on Wednesday, the same time, Wednesday at 5 p.m. And hopefully we're going to have a guest episode. But you know what? We'll wait and see, and we'll update you guys on our LinkedIn. But then again, guys, yeah, it was a good episode. I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys liked the redesign website, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.